making a lot of noise at AT&T Stadium.
Anything that moves between these lines, got to get dealt with.
10-5, and he streaks in. Deep to the post to Lamb. At the 5 to the goal line.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night is presented by AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
27-17, the final score in Week 9 of the NFL season. The undefeated streak at home is no longer as the Arizona Cardinals take down the Dallas Cowboys by 10 on Monday Night Football. We are here from AT&T Stadium, and this is Cowboys Game Night. Alongside Isaiah Stanback and Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans here from just outside the locker room at AT&T Stadium as Cowboys players and coaches have gradually made their way out of the locker room. And it's a bit somber down here as the Cowboys fall to 3-5-1, going into the bye week on a sour note, back-to-back performances that they would like to forget. Week 8 against Denver, now Week 9 against the Arizona Cardinals. I'll open up the floor to both of you gentlemen, former Cowboys in your own right. These types of losses are tough to swallow because you feel like you have an opportunity to win it. You've been playing well at home, and that was just not the case this evening.
Yeah, tonight nothing got going. It really didn't. The only thing that you had really going for you is that you made a good play on special teams, but then you didn't give your special teams unit the opportunity to put you in the ball game by forfeiting your field goal opportunities. You went for it on fourth down a number of times. It did not work in your favor, so that's 6 points off the board that would have been nice to have when the game was remotely competitive. Offensively, you couldn't really get going. You seemingly were waiting on the big shot versus a team that does not give up the big play. You were unwilling to stay dedicated to the run, which was effective. You had 15 attempts for 85 yards with Javonte Williams, but yet you only gave him 15 attempts. We know that by history shows that if you give him the ball more than that, then you're probably going to win the ball game. And then defensively, you just couldn't stop a running nose. You allowed their two playmakers to make plays. The quarterback had too much time in the backfield for the first half, which is the game where they really got up in the game. And then they were able to get the ball to Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr., who has been quiet all year long until tonight.
Yeah, our offense never got going. You cannot play a team like this that asks you to dink and dunk, and then you get out into the red zone. You have to come away with points, whether it's 3, whether it's 6. You have to do that. We play right into their hands. What they have been missing is offense, and they had it tonight with Marvin Harrison Jr. 80 yards, touchdown. So they played pretty well. They stepped up their game offensively, and we didn't step our game up defensively because their defense played it the way they wanted to play it. They wanted to dink and dunk down the field, and we didn't score 7 points.
It's just as simple as that. Arizona executed their game plan. Dallas did not. Let's take a look at the highlights of how this one unfolded from AT&T Stadium. Jacoby Brissett starting in position in front of Kyler Murray, who was inactive for this game with a foot injury. Dak Prescott 34-16-1 as a starter following a Cowboys loss. First quarter, opening drive for Dallas, moving the football at will, but on fourth down and goal, they elect to go for it instead of kick the field goal. Dak Prescott sacked for a 4-yard loss. It was a turnover on downs. Arizona would put up a field goal in the first quarter, but fast forward to the second, they find the end zone first. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. who wins his battle at the line of scrimmage with Deron Bland, leaves him in the dust, and Marvin Harrison Jr. has the touchdown. Dallas needed something to go right on the offensive end. Well, they get it on special teams instead. Sam Williams with the blocked punt. It trickles all the way into the Cowboys end zone where it's recovered by Marshawn Nealon. It's the first punt block touchdown by the Dallas Cowboys since 2021. This would reignite the AT&T Stadium crowd. Quite the play from the special teams unit, but to put Dallas on the board, the score at that point, 10-7 in the football game. However, Arizona would tack on more points at the end of the first half. A quarterback sneak from Jacoby Brissett that would put Arizona up 17-7 through the first half. They would get the ball to start the third quarter, and it was much of the same for the Cardinals. It took just 3 plays to go 74 yards. Jacoby Brissett finds Trey McBride in the end zone, his 5th receiving touchdown of the year. Into the fourth quarter, Dallas trying to work their way back in it. It's a pitch and catch from Dak Prescott to Ryan Flanoy in the back of the end zone. This one puts Dallas back down by 10. They would get the football back after a defensive stop. Javonte Williams in plus territory, gets wrapped up, and the ball pops pops free. It's left on the ground. It's recovered by Arizona at their own 37-yard line. Williams puts it on the turf. That really negated Dallas's chances, but they had one final opportunity inside the 2-minute warning to try and make this a ball game. Dak Prescott trying to find Flanoy again down the right sideline. This one underthrown severely, and the pressure forces a pick. Jonathan Gannon and the Cardinals are victors for the first time since a 2-0 start. They had lost 5 straight coming into this matchup. They improved to 3-5 as we take a look at the final stats brought to you by Miller Lite. The Cowboys fall to 3-5-1. They miss a chance to be at an even 500 going into the bye week. And really the toughest part of their schedule still lies in front of them in the back half of the season following the bye week. So not the day Dallas envisioned on both sides of the football, but when we come back on Cowboys Game Night, we're going to talk about the offensive struggles in this one. It was not the bounce-back performance that was anticipated for Dak and the Cowboys offense in this one.
This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
Welcome back into Cowboys Game Night here from AT&T Stadium as the Cowboys fall to 3-5-1 following a 27-17 loss to the Arizona Cardinals. Cowboys, after a poor offensive performance last week against the Denver Broncos, there was a lot of confidence that they would rebound this week. It didn't end up looking the way that they anticipated in this one. What did you feel like you saw from the offensive side as they fall and only have the one offensive touchdown in the ball game?
It really came down to the lack of commitment to the run for me. I think that Javonte Williams is a downhill runner. They try to run him out to the outside, to the edges too much. And versus a 3-4 defense, that's not the weakness of the defense. The weakness of the 3-4 defense is straight ahead. I understand they had a couple guys on the interior that can stop you, but there's natural running lanes for those big fellas like Big Nate at the guard position. They can get up to those linebackers.
I thought we would use our tight end a little bit more, but both tight ends, they try to pull those guys down closer to try to open it up and use the running back swinging out of the backfield, try to make something happen there. We didn't. We just kept waiting on that big play that never happened.
What did you think about the way that Dallas held on to the football today? Of course, a couple of turnovers in this one, but it was really the totality of it all. It wasn't just the turnovers. There were 2 crucial turnover on downs in the red zone, one in the first quarter, one in the second half. And with all of that kind of pieced together, Nate, it takes you out of ball games whenever you can't score points like that.
They were physical. They was bent on not letting us run the ball. And as the game went on and we felt that we couldn't run the ball, we went to throwing the ball, and they were all batty. From Buda Baker, his guy, from Campbell, all of those guys. Yeah. And then their draft pick had a hell of a day.
Walter Nolan
had a hell of a day on our inside people. So it was hard. They played great, consistent defense.
They have a fast defense. And the thing is, their defense is every highlight that you're going to see is them running downhill. The reason why is because their secondary plays off. They don't allow plays to get over the top of them, which allows for their defense to be aggressive playing downhill. So, yeah, Nate, you're talking about them coming up and hitting and being physical. That's exactly what they were. And unfortunately, it did not work to the favor of the Dallas Cowboys. They did not meet that physicality until at least the defense did later on in the game, but it was too late.
And then on the other side of it, you talk about the performance from Dak Prescott, 24 of 39 passing, 250 yards, touchdown, and interception. How did you feel like Dak performed in this one?
Dak never was able to set his feet. For the last 2 weeks, Dak has been seemingly unstable, specifically today. He got sacked 5 times. I can't even tell you how many times he got hurried. Every time he was under pressure. You guys see it right here on your screen. He took a sack here, but he's obviously always moving his feet, always has somebody in his face. It caused errant throws, it caused interceptions, and it caused a lot of inaccurate passes.
Yeah, guys coming up the middle, guys coming off the edge. So like Isaiah said, he can never set his feet. This offensive line has to get together and play more than 4 games together. So you can learn how to build that wall, learn how to help a guy. It helps the backs because they know how to chip. It helps the tight ends because they know how long each player they can set with. So this offensive line got to come together because Dak is having a good year. He's just, when any quarterback has to move his feet the way Dak had to move around today, that's just not a good thing.
And if there was any day where the Cowboys offensive line would feel whole again, it would be this one where Cooper Beebe returns and the entire starting five is available for the first time in quite some time on that Cowboys offensive line. When we come back, we'll hear from head coach Brian Schottenheimer, his thoughts following the 27-17 loss to the Arizona Cardinals, where the Cowboys could be heading next following the bye week coming up and the trade deadline tomorrow.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
I thought the first drive looked pretty energetic by us offensively. I didn't think that we did a good job of finalizing that drive. I thought we moved the ball right down the field pretty well, and unfortunately couldn't get it in. And wanted to be aggressive there. Felt good about the calls down there, and we just weren't able to get it done. But I didn't sense that.
Defensively, you said subtle changes, major changes. What did you think of the defense overall?
I thought first and second down we were awesome. I thought we did a really good job on first, second down. I thought we affected the passer. I know we had 5 sacks. I thought some of the 5-1 stuff that we did was really good, very effective. Our biggest problem on defense was third down. We just struggled to get off the field on third down. And, conversely, when they got in the red zone, we weren't able to, get them to kick field goals. So we got to be better. I think this game came down to really 3 things. The giveaway takeaway battle, which we were not very good. We were loose with the ball all day, -3. You're never going to win games in this league being -3, and really the last one doesn't count, for Dak. He's just launching up there on 4th and forever. And then the situational football. We weren't able to sustain enough drives because we weren't very good on third down, and they did a good job, and they converted some thirds and longs.
Clarence Hill, Dallas Cowboys. You've been bad on third down all year, last in the league coming into the game. What's been the problem on third down?
Yeah, different reasons. For most of the game, it was not, or most of the season, it's been, not being able to get pressure on the quarterback. This game, I just thought there was some big voids that they were taking advantage of. I thought Marvin Harrison played really well. They obviously were trying to get him involved, and they did that. But, again, I just felt like that, without studying the film, there were some big voids. And, again, we just got to look at it. But I thought the pass rush was really good. And, again, they did a better job protecting on third down than we did offensively. So now I got to look at that.
There's so much talk.
Back here on Cowboys Game Night following the 27-17 loss, Isaiah Stanback and Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. You hear from Brian Schottenheimer there, and you can hear his entire postgame press conference on DallasCowboys.com. It kind of didn't seem as serious as you would anticipate. He's a high-energy guy, but at some point you would think there's a little bit of frustration that seeps in there, even in the press conferences. Your thoughts at what he said there?
Coach Schottenheimer has always tried to protect his guys, whether it be his players or whether it be his coaches. We've seen him go to bat for Matt Eberflus over the last month or so. The last few weeks, he's kind of backing off of that. You're not seeing him be as deliberate in terms of his defense of Eberflus and his defense. You see him now pointing out there's gaps, right? There's things I have to go back and watch the film, but I was able to acknowledge in real time that there was gaps. There was times that you saw Clarence Hill ask a question in regards to them coming into this game being last in the league in terms of getting off the field in third down. That is true. That remained true this evening as well. So there's a number of things that, yes, plays like Deron Bland, slipping on the 1-yard line, getting at the line of scrimmage, getting done up by Marvin Harrison Jr. You can't do anything about that as a defensive coordinator. But again, I'm starting to look and see the cracks in terms of Shoddy and his defense of this defense. There's only so many times you can come to the podium and say, oh, yeah, well, we just have to get better.
Yeah.
It's at a point in time now. This is, 9 games
Yeah.
in? You are who you are.
Yep.
And he's beginning to realize that. So he has to continue to keep his guys on the high side of things. But he did say guys carrying the ball loosely. We got to do some things. He felt good about the calls that he made. All he had to say was they didn't execute, because that was the next thing should have came out of his mouth.
Yeah.
But he's defending his guys to a certain extent. But I'm telling you like this team, this is who they are. And this is how it's going to be, because it's only after the L.A. game, it's murderer's row.
Yeah, the Vegas game coming up after that matchup. And you've got Philadelphia, Kansas City, Detroit, L.A., Minnesota, all on the schedule coming up very, very soon. When we come back, the defense showed some bright spots. Pass rush had 5 sacks. There were multiple pressures on that side of the ball. But what happened And how do you grade out the defensive performance of the 27-17 loss to Arizona?
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
Cowboys game night here from AT&T Stadium, just outside the Cowboys locker room as they fall to the Cardinals in Week 9, alongside Isaiah Stanback and Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Now, gentlemen, the defense, at least in certain areas today, played better. They played better in the pass rush. They played better in run defense for the majority of the game compared to what they've done the last few weeks. But when it boils down to a third down efficiency, not where you want it to be, the secondary had lapses at different times in the game, left wide open holes for guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride to have some success. Nate, I'll start with you. Your overall thought on how the defense performed in the 27-17 loss.
I'm with you 100%. You know, the pass rush was better, the run was okay, but our secondary, I wish I could just blast them, but I don't know these guys. I don't know who they are. We're on our third and fourth and practice squad players.
Yeah.
So it's hard. If our starters were having problems trying to put this together, how about a guy that ain't had no practice time, only 2 weeks of practice time?
Or has been hurt up until this point, too.
Thank you.
Listen, there's a lot that's bad. The pass rush was great in the last, when the game really was kind of getting out of hand. So you can give that award. But in terms of the secondary was not good. The secondary was not good. You have guys that are playing out of position. You have strong safeties that are being asked to cover some of the best tight ends in the game. You have guys that are missing tackles. It's just not good football. And then when you're playing zone, you're playing 6, 7, 8 yards off of one of the more talented receivers in the game. There's a lot that's wrong.
There's a lot that's left to clean up. Now, you do have 2 weeks going into the bye week, and you get a full 2 weeks as it's Monday Night Football again in week 12 of the NFL season. They have a little bit of time to kind of find a groove between now and then. But when we come back, what's next for the Cowboys? Could the trade deadline be on the docket, and could Dallas improve themselves over the bye week to make a difference in the second half?
To watch more Dallas Cowboys content on your connected TV, download the Cowboys Now app on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV. Dallas Cowboys Game Night was presented by AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Cowboys game night finishing up here from AT&T Stadium in Arlington. 27-17 the final score as the Arizona Cardinals take down the Dallas Cowboys in Week 9. Gentlemen, it's now the bye week. There is a trade deadline happening in about 16 hours from right now. Can the Cowboys make enough noise in order to put themselves in position to get out of this 3-5-1 hole that they find themselves in now?
They could make enough noise. I'm not sure if they're going to anymore. I think that tonight's result was going to be an indication of how aggressive Mr. Jones was going to be. With them going 3-5-1, I'm not sure that he wants to be as aggressive as he was when he seemingly felt like he had a lot more control of this playoff picture.
Unless you're going to get a defensive tackle, a linebacker, and a safety. And I'm talking about use all your picks to make it happen. It ain't nothing you can do right now. You're going to have to just ride this out. I'm not trying to be funny. You're going to have to ride this out. It is what it is. We playing with backups, my friend, in the secondary. Guys that were practice squad guys. You got to go out and get guys that can bring the leather. We don't have that right now.
And a lot of times you hear that saying in the NFL that you are what your record says you are. What the Cowboys are right now is 3 wins, 5 losses, and a tie going into the bye week. We'll be back in 2 weeks on Monday Night Football as the Cowboys travel to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. We'll have Cowboys pregame live starting at 6 o'clock that week, followed by Cowboys game night and the first word presented by Dr. Pepper. Once again, the final score from AT&T Stadium, the Cowboys fall 27-17. For Isaiah, Nate, and our entire crew, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying good night from Arlington.